Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened as I said it would. People will be. Oh, when have we got Leeds? Yeah. Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and it is time for another Leeds United update or a Leeds United video. I hope you're all doing well. I've got the Late Night Leeds crew with me. We've got Andrea Russo, whose family is steeped in football heritage, who's had a shave, by the way. His mum was telling him he was looking a bit like me, so she went, get rid of that beard. And then we've got a guy who needs a shave, and that's not me, it's Lockie. We've got Lockie Leeds with us as well. Listen, the Late Night Leeds crew is in the house. Right, okay, so we're going to be chatting tonight about left-backs, okay? Because, of course, it's an area of the pitch we probably don't need just one, maybe two, but I think they'll only get us one and just maybe use Strauch or Kjelder there if indeed that person gets injured. You know, and I'm okay with that as long as the first left-back's a decent left-back. We're going to talk about that. But before we do, we're going to talk about Ethan Ampadu. You know, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. Before we do, we're going to talk about Ethan Ampadu. We're going to talk about Ethan Ampadu. We're not going to do it to death. We've done it. We're just going to get people's reactions. He's come in the door. Nice and easy. Quick, sharpish. We're then going to talk about Mishu. The PSG youngster that's been linked again, moving in silence. No one heard of him, and then bang, Fabrizio said Leeds want to bring in Mishu. So we'll have a little chat about him, and then maybe the keeper situation, because looks like Darlow could be on his way to Bournemouth. So where do Leeds United go next? Because it looks like Newbill could be on his way to Stuttgart as well, and then we'll get into the left backs. So let's quickly, you know, you don't have to do it to death because we've spoken about him when he first was close, and that was a couple of days ago. But I'm going to come to you first of all, Lockie. Ethan Ampadu, happy. I think the one thing that everyone said, he said on his video, I hadn't had a chance to listen to it at the time, saying my preferred position centre back. I listened to it back. He was saying, no, my preferred position based on where I played last time is centre back, but he's going to be a number 6, surely. I think, right?
Yeah, well, there was the medical sheet had positions and had midfield in front of defender. So that'll, I imagine he's going to play defence. Yeah, in terms of the championship signing, I think he's so low risk. You know how good he is. He's done it at 22. Good experience, leadership, good on the ball. I think, good signing for Leeds United and a statement for me.
22-year-old,
so young.
22-year-old Andrea with 40 caps, with experience in the Bundesliga, 2 times in Serie A and in the Premier League, both at the top end and bottom end of the table. That's invaluable for a player at 22, and I can see already he's been pushed by the club, pictures, and I don't know if that's just a 49ers thing. I don't know if you've seen the link tree thing they did where it took you to all them pages, and I'm thinking, see, this is different already. Because imagine how many eyes have gone on that and gone, oh, I didn't know we had TikTok. Oh, I didn't know I'm going to follow him on all. Guarantee you the club's moving mad now. But are you happy about Ampadu?
Yeah, of course. I'm over the moon, you know. We talked about him for the first time, and it's a bit mad, you know, seeing a player that we talked about in the scouting report signing for the club. Actually, it still doesn't feel real, you know. But looking at the system, I'm really happy because we're looking towards, and even the other names that have been linked, we're always putting versatility first, because a player like him can play in various positions, can play DM, which I think is favorable position. I can play CM in various occasions, but also center back if the manager thinks he can play there. But I don't think he'll be used as a center back, but as a deep link-up player, midfielder, you know. And what you said, Joe, is true. You know, you see the difference even in the amount of content that the club produces for the signing of a player. You know, here we see the photo gallery, we've seen the interview on LUTV, we've seen also the graphic design with the Wales, Spezia and Venezia and Leipzig reference in the background, without any reference to Sheffield United and Chelsea.
Yeah,
Actually, because these are not clubs that are very friendly with Leeds fans. That's of course their value is just is different from the one with Sheffield United. They're on two different levels. One is a local one is of course on two levels. But yeah, I'm happy, and you see the level of professionalism.
Already,
also, look at the top, Haima Hohid. Over the top of the shirt, of Spezia away shirt on the left, the yellow one, you can see the reference to "We're still here," the reference in the Welsh language, the song that that became from David Litvan. They became famous before the World Cup. So that's a good tradition of the Welsh midfielders, and I can't help but spare a thought for the greatest one that ever played for Leeds. Well, Gary Speed, of course. So yeah, I'm really happy. Versatility, and it's a player with tons of experience, and I think he can be a leader too. It can be, and it helps too the fact that they pushed Adams too with the video with Adams. I think this is a good sign about Adams, because, like I said the last time, I don't think right now someone will spend 30 million for him, especially after an injury. Right now, in late August, we don't know, because there's the close, and we'll see.
I was just going to say as well, Joe, just before I move on, I was looking at comments, of other fans talking about Ampadu, and the only things they could bring up were his relegations.
Yeah.
This is football, not tennis. You're not playing by yourself. You're with a team. And the fact that, one, he's been on loan so much. And well, that's Chelsea's problem.
That's the Chelsea way, isn't it?
That's it. Nothing about his ability. It's some stuff about Sheffield United when he was 19 years old in the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for me, this is a class signing.
And the thing is at Chelsea, with all them loans, because it's all about success now, they were never going to get them chances anyway. Which manager was ever going to be there long enough to go, do you know what? Let's build you up and bring you through. Unless you're elite already, like a Reece James or a Mason Mount for a period of time. They can't take time. Sarri played him, Conte played him. They're all there about 18 months. And then what? A new manager comes in and says, I want my own players. Do you know what I mean? So that's why it's never really worked at Chelsea, the youth. All they used it for was to farm them and sell them. Farm them and sell them. There was never really any plan to bring them through. Because even when they did, under Lampard, they sold them all. None of them are there anymore.
Yeah, so... Just look at Fofana now. They brought him in, pumped him, pushed him into the intermediate, the Chelsea accounts, and now they've sent him out on loan straight away to Union Berlin with our friend Brandon Aronson,
Exactly. Dash says, Farker watching the Just Joe show to get some ideas for his next signing. Well, on that, by the way, just to give you a sort of little hip too, they do watch sometimes. They do. I think they do, see Twitter and that as much as they'd like to tell you they don't, because Lockie's very own video on Matteo Joseph was actually liked by the man himself. So probably more than likely, Matteo Joseph sat and watched the ramblings of Lockie talking about how he's going to work in this system. So I absolutely I love that. Joe's definitely Andrea's Padawan. Before we next, we're going to talk about Mishu, but I just want to squeeze in there, right? Because I'll never miss an opportunity to praise Bielsa, and I'll never miss an opportunity to bash Jesse, right? And I don't know if people have seen this. You probably have, but Sam Greenwood shared a video earlier on of his teammates in between training. We know that Daniel Farke beasts them. We know that Daniel Farke sometimes does double, triple sessions, sometimes 7 days a week. There's no messing about. They will be fit. One of the reasons we struggled so hard towards the back end of the season is because they were unfit. Because the manager came in and went, see all these sleeping pods you've got on that? Yeah, you see all the, you don't need them. Tell you what we're going to do. We'll make it a lovely media centre. Why? Because he taught more shit than he could do on the pitch. Just like the owner. When we're getting taken over, he's there going to Sky Sports. Get me on. Talk to me. But anyway, the reason I wanted to share it, it's a good sign. It's a good sign. And it is Sam Greenwood sharing a picture of his teammates. Now, if you just have a look at this, Willie Gnonto,
Well, not
asleep.
Willie.
Somerville, asleep. Pervader, asleep. They're done in. That's good. Boys, when you see that, though, you're like, do you know what?
Yeah,
it's
they're
a good
working
thing,
hard.
right?
Good
It's
sign.
a good thing, right?
Good sign.
It's pre-season. That's what it's for.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And under Jesse, they weren't getting that. They were getting, you're the best thing since sliced bread. You know what I mean? I don't know why he sounded like that, but you hear what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
You sound like Ted Lasso.
Yeah. So there you go. Tom Johansson, thank you for the super chat. He says today, paycheck. Big up to you, brother. Thank you for supporting the channel as always. Right, okay. Talk to me about Mishu. I don't know much about him. He was on loan at Sunderland last season. Didn't play much, but maybe wasn't suited to the system as such. So who wants to go first? Actually, I'm going to come to you, Lockie. And the reason I'm going to come to you is because you had him on the midfielders list that we did before. And the reason you removed him is Sunderland had a deal to sign him permanently. And he said, I don't want to come to Sunderland. And I can't blame him because I live in Sunderland and it ain't nice, right? Yeah. So he's decided to go back to Paris, right? Mm-hmm. So you went, do you know what? He's not going to come back to the Championship. I'm not going to bother.
Mm-hmm.
You presumed?
I thought, you know, I saw it. Because I used to watch, I said earlier, last year, I was doing a lot of work. I've got two screens. I did one work on the other, and I put midweek Championship was always on the other screen. And Sunderland were obviously on the TV a lot because they're a big club out there. So, and when he was playing, this was latter end of the season when he actually played, and I was very impressed with. And for me, I don't necessarily look at how they played in a system. I try to look at attributes and what I saw from him when he was on the ball and what he can be, as opposed to more what he was in that role. Because like you said, in that system, I just felt it was too counter-attacking. You know, when he got the ball, he'd be very deep with it. And I just think his attributes, you know, his technical ability, quick with the ball, great ball control, you know, good forward passing, progressive. I think he suits a higher role. As we said on Twitter, Andrea said earlier on Twitter as well, that Alex Scott type player, Johan Kabay, he said as well, you know, that really creative technical player. And again, people are asking about what position he is. I think he's at an age where he could still be molded in different positions. I don't think he's got a nailed position. I think 8 and 10 for me are probably the two areas I'd like to see him. But yeah, well, like you said, when I saw him not signing on at Sunderland, and you know, I presumed he want to play in the top league somewhere in France or something like that. But clearly, he did still want to stay there, which is whatever. But yeah, it took a while to get into the team at first. A lot of he didn't start a lot, but once he got into it, it was kind of a staple. And when I watched him he played about 7 or 8 games or on Sky Sports, quite a lot. When he played, I was impressed with what he did, but what he could be in a more of a possession-based system, playing higher up. So I'll let Andrea carry on, but I think for me, in a Farke system, which we keep talking about, I think, again, whether he starts at he'll have to work his way into the squad, but I just think with the right players around him, he could thrive in a role which allows him to be expressive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Go on, talk to me, Andrea. Talk to me about
Mishu.
Mishu.
I agree. I agree with Lockie about Mishu, because of course, to me, he's like a box-to-box midfielder, but not like the old ones. You know, the box-to-box, old school ones. This one is a box-to-box in terms of distance covered, because he covers a lot of distance, and especially he can start the action from the back and then move forward. If you look at some of his videos for Sunderland in a system that didn't suit his characteristics, because I think he didn't want it to stay at Sunderland because of how Tony Mowbray system worked. You know, they had a very low fee in terms of buy option to buy from PSG Sunderland, £2.5 million. But yeah, he said to them, I don't want to stay, because in the end, he didn't have the opportunity that he deserved at Sunderland in that system, because he performed, but that system didn't suit him at best, because it's not a ball possession system, the one at the Stadium of Light and the Mowbray. To be fair, in a system like the one of Farke, he could be a good signing. I don't see him starting, to be fair, because of course Sunderland were a newly promoted team last season and they overperformed massively with a good team and good signings because they have the money. Of course, the Louis Dreyfus family has the money, so they were an odd newly promoted side because they had a lot of money to invest. I don't see him starting, but like Loki said, he can play in various positions. He can be also a number 10 in my point of view, because if you look at the back, when he starts the action, he reminded me a lot in certain ways of Yohan Cabaye when he was especially at Newcastle and Palace. So one that disposes of the ball very quickly, but he is also one that reaches for the space with the ball on his feet and creating chances for his teammates, utilizing the space well. Also, it's good the fact that also the 92% of tackles successful is also a good start. Pass completion 86%, but of course, if you look at the assists and the goals, he's not a scorer. We don't expect him to be a scorer, but a player that we can help massively in terms of going forward, the link up between the attack, the deep midfield, and the wingers, especially. As a link-up player, I think the position that might suit him the best can be that one in front of the deep midfielders. But as an alternative right now, only
20 years old.
Exactly. Yeah. Only 20. There's other clubs interested, but if Fabrizio tweets that Leeds United among several clubs interested, I think it has surely very long legs, this one, because Fabrizio.
You would imagine Leeds are at the front of it, right?
Exactly,
the fact that he's mentioned them and not said, I don't know, Wren or whoever, you know what I mean? He's put Leeds as sort of the
I think as well, the fact that he had that loan last year at Sunderland will massively help him now integrate into English football a lot better. I think that's a good loan to have.
Yeah, of course.
And don't take him for a player that that has an high opinion of himself or is arrogant, you know. Because he refused to stay at Sunderland and said it's frankly to them. And Sunderland decided not to trigger the option to Boy because they would have had a player who didn't want to be there, you know, who didn't want to remain. And of course, why didn't want to remain? Because the system didn't suit him, the one at Sunderland, and he didn't have enough opportunities to play. So why staying in a club with a system that I don't like? Because if you look at this his stats and his highlights and the PSG youth teams, he's also one that can shoot. But of course, at Sunderland they played him in a more deeper position. But like me and Loki said, he's really remind us of Alex Scott from Bristol going forward in the final third. In terms of chance creation for the teammates, in terms of chance creations for the teammates, he can be a good signer, of course. Not a starter, but the first backup for me from the bench in that specific position.
Yeah, and probably one I could see growing as the season went on as well, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess it's about bolstering out that squad, right? And if someone like Farke wants him, then as Parag said yesterday, you've got to give him the tools.
Yeah.
If he wants them, give him the tools. Seems to be a bit of a mixed bag, but from Sunderland fans. So I had a little, search of his name when I was on my way home earlier, and it seems to be a mixed bag. But people see different things, don't they? It is what it is. So, and what I will always say, because I think one of the laziest arguments of any fan is when they go, "Well, why don't such and such want him?" Or "Why is this and why is that?" And I just think, "Oh my God, are we really going to go there?" We know Jack Harrison had two failed loans before he came to Leeds United.
True.
And look how that turned out. I know Jamal Blackman broke his leg at Leeds, but ultimately he was class at Sheffield United. He came to Leeds. Where's he now? I don't know where. So it depends where, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, folks. We have to remember this fact, okay? So let's not write anyone off before they come through the door. Before we start talking about left backs and the reason we're going to be talking about it, someone's just tagged me in a tweet there, and this is from Give Me Sports. So I think Romano's probably been doing one of his either the podcast, which is with the Here We Go. I don't know if you've got that podcast. I listen to it, but he must have been talking on one of them. Someone's just shared this with me. I'm just going to quickly share it. Just bear me one moment. So he has been saying that Leeds will look for players in different positions, which we know about. So I think they'll be really busy in the next week. We're expecting that anyway. I reckon we could have maybe 1 or 2 more players by Friday, if I'm being honest. He said it's also important to see how the conversation with Everton will go for Gnonto. There's a lot of Leeds fans that are batting this out of hand, and I've had to say, no, listen, if Gnonto wants to stay at the higher end, right, and that includes Premier League, and if other clubs aren't willing to go, of course he'd prefer other options. I was told he'd prefer someone like Burnley because of, working under someone like Company as opposed to an Everton. But if Everton are the only club that are actually going to put a bid in, then there's a big chance he could go. And the fact that it keeps getting reported and everyone keeps saying, oh, no, it's not happening. Trust me, there is legs to this. Now, of course, it'll be interesting to see how the 49ers deal with it. I think we've already can see from the deals they've managed to get over the line. I think Ampadu at 7 million is a steal. I think some of the figures that are being banded out for some of the other players are also a steal. As Parag said, I am, the chief negotiator and salary cap architect. He's
does contracts in his sleep.
Yes, does contracts in his sleep. He backs himself in these scenarios. So expect it to be very good for Leeds and also not so good for the opposition. But it does say at the bottom, at the moment, Leeds are not happy with their proposal. Gnonto will be a crucial part of the transfer window for Leeds this summer, i.e. it's going to roll on. But I think Leeds want at least 20 million, I think. And that won't be 15 million with add-ons. I think that'll be baseline. Like, we want something close to this with add-ons. But every player has their price. Before we go into left-backs, let's talk about Gnonto. Do you see him going, Andrea? And would he go to Everton, in your opinion?
Well, we have to remind, first of all, that his agent said that he really liked the experience in the Premier League. So they will prefer to remain in England, especially not going back to Italy. And in that same interview that he did some weeks ago with a local, an Italian Twitch transmission, he said that he cannot stay in the Championship. So on the point of view of the agent, he wants to take him out of Leeds, basically, plain and clear. He's trying, of course, to find a club that puts in a bid to acquire him from Leeds, clearly. So I agree with you, at least 20, but I'll try to go for 25 too. We acquired him for, I always mix it up, but I think it was £5 million or 3 in that region from Zurich. So it's, of course, a plus in terms of looking at the fee that we paid and what we're selling him. But we need to remind too that we have to stick to our ground and our price tag, because he doesn't have a relegation clause. So there's no hurry to sell him until the club that is willing to pay our price tag arrives. So it may even take as long as the end of August to sell him, to be fair. Now he's saying that TV dello Sport, okay, Sport Italia. Sport Italia is usually connected with the agents in terms of...
These were the ones that brought the story originally, right, Andrea?
Yeah, it was Chris Itiello, is the director of Sport Italia. They usually like Di Marzio. They have the transfer man of Sky Sports Italy is Di Marzio, and the transfer man of Sport Italia is called Alfredo Pedulla. And both of them are really connected in terms of transfer news in Italy. Of course, Gnonto is playing in England, but his agent is Italian. Vigorelli is the same agent of Zaniolo. So they have good connections. And if you see all this news about moving to Everton, of course, the agent is trying to push for the move. It's clear that he wants to move him. And we know that the preference of Willie is to stay in the Premier League. So will Everton be the right fit for him? I don't think so, to be fair. But looking at the style of play of Daesh, so if I were him, I won't go to Everton. But the other thing that I consider, to be fair, is 15 million is not enough.
No.
And we know that Everton is not a spending club. So will they go to 20, 25? I don't think so. I don't think so. So in the end, if a club from the Premier League doesn't arrive, there's clubs interested in Italy for sure. And especially with the consideration that the national team manager Mancini has for Gnonto. Of course, there's the Euros next summer, hoping we qualify, because we're really messed up right now, from the top to the bottom, from the federation to the national team. I think he'll lately in the transfer market, if he doesn't find a Premier League team, they'll try to reach a deal with a Serie A club. To be fair, like Fiorentina, for example, a team that plays attacking football. Fiorentina plays attacking football, so that there'll be opportunities with clubs playing European football, because Fiorentina will probably play in the Conference League, because Juve, of course, will announce it because of the settlement with UEFA after what happened with the capital gains.
Okay, just on those that are totally dismissing this out of hand, dismiss it out of hand at your own will. I'm telling you, there is legs to this story.
I was just going to say as well on that, like the trajectory of the player, you've got to look how quickly he's shot up in the last year. He's not going to go back down. When you're on the trajectory at 19, you want to constantly keep going up. You don't want to hold at 19. Maybe at 25, 26.
Same for Somerville. Hey?
Look,
same for Somerville.
This is what I'm saying. Like clubs like Everton, it's not going to be his home. It's another chance for him to show his worth at Everton in the Premier League. Then guess what? He moves again to another big.
He's on the road to the top. That's
100%. He's not care about Leeds. He's not going to look at Everton and go, "Oh, I might come." It's all about Premier League. It's all about money, and it's all about showing his worth. And if he goes to Everton, and for what it's worth, I don't think Everton will be in trouble next year. That's just my opinion. I think a full pre-season under Dyche, I think they'll be all right. I think Luton, Sheffield United come straight back down, and one more. And I don't think it'll be Everton for what it's worth. But what I just want to say, someone's just Jamie Dixon makes a good point, although I do think Alex Scott with the English tax, etc. He says Alex Scott is going for 25. All he's done is playing the Championship. Gnonto has Prem and international performances at 19, which is fair. And Big Mike says Harvey Barnes has just gone to Newcastle for 38 million. If everyone wanted him, I'm thinking this kind of figure. Now, what I would say is it's somewhere in the middle of that. There's not a chance that you can compare Gnonto to Barnes, because Barnes has done it season after season for a while now, and he's a top player. But Jamie also makes a good point in terms of, yes, Alex Scott has great potential like Gnonto, but he doesn't have the experience that Willie Gnonto does have. So what would represent a decent fee for you? I'm thinking, and I'm trying to be realistic, and people will bash me, baseline 20 with add-ons, maybe 20 up to 25. I think that's what Leeds United will try and get. If we get anything more than that, I'd be over the moon. What say you, Lockie? Am I wrong? What's your opinion?
I agree. I was going to say about 20. I just think when we love him, but from the outside, and this is true, he didn't, when he came here, he was in the 23s at first. He didn't end the season well at all. He hardly played. Big Sam brought him on and he looked lost. He had a really good middle period, and that's the value. So I don't think it can be too high because, like you said, he's not had that experience in terms of longevity yet. But like Jack said, you've got to have clauses in there because he's going to the top, right? Let's be honest, he's probably going to the top. Yeah. So you'll have clauses in there. You might have, loads of stuff like that. But around 20 to 25, I think he's very reasonable, to be honest. And that can buy you 2 or 3 players in that league.
100%. Yeah, try to even reach 30 because he's an Italian international, so there's the international experience there. But I think 20, 25, because he's an international, you can try to, and looking at the fees that are going into the market, Alex Scott is not worth right now. Probably in the future he'll be 25 million. But he's going to Wolves, isn't it? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, they've turned down 20 million from Wolves, I think. They were the last team to bid, I think, yeah.
So 25 is going to Wolves right now.
No, they turned down 20. I don't think anything's been confirmed up to this point unless someone wants to tell me different in the chat. But I think they were going back with another bid.
Yeah, if they're going to, I think it's JUSTJOE right now for a player like Alex Scott. He's done when the Championship, is playing for England under 20s. But right now it's JUSTJOE. In the future, he's going to be a hell of a player. He's going to play for England too. But right now, I think it's a JUSTJOE fee for especially for a team like Wolves that I think are not moving really well on the market.
No, they're not.
And we can look at also at the players that have been linked with them. The return of Matt Doherty and Aaron Cresswell too. So and selling Ruben Neves too. So
I think what's big about Gnonto as well, we bought him for £5 million.
Yeah. 5 million is what?
So whatever you make in the initial sale and add-ons you had onto that, you could be making 30, 35 million pounds on a player.
100%, mate.
The salon, actually, remember that Zurich has a salon, a consistent salon too. They have a very consistent sound too.
Well,
I think it's around 20%.
Parag knows about all that stuff, so he'll put stuff in that contract, I believe.
100%, man. 100%. And look, just Fergal Kelly with the super chat says 25 million plus a decent sell-on clause for Gnonto. I think a lot of us would be happy with that. Econ says 20 million with a sell-on clause, but an important clause. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And one he has just mentioned there, Aaron Creswell, who is on his way to Wolves. Okay, Aaron Creswell on his way to Wolves, left back. Okay, going for. Hang on, Phil Hayes just tweeted. Let me make sure I haven't missed anything. Oh, he's just retweeting something from earlier. His Ethan Ampadu story. I got a little bit excited there. Wow. Just a bit of breaking story. This is how desperate people are for the money. Alexander Mitrovic has told us he will never play for Fulham again after the club valued him at 52 million. It's understood he's angry at being priced out of a move, having been the subject of 2 failed bids. And someone like Mitrovic, he will dig his heels in, by the way. He will not play. And that's a team, just for argument's sake, that I'm actually pipping for the drop. Just because they massively outperformed their numbers last year. So let's wait and see. And if they're going to use him, I'll lose him, then that's a worry. But back to what I was talking about. Go on. You were going to say something.
I was going to say, remember that Fulham are bigger than Leeds United today. Remember that?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, bloody hell, I forgot about that. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, just fun. Nothing serious. In a respectful way, not insulting anyone. When it's friendly and fun between each other, it's good stick, good banter, it's funny, but never got to beyond that line.
No, there's too much of it on Twitter, unfortunately, isn't there? Right, okay. So the reason I bring up Creswell, because I have been told that him, maybe on his way to Wolves, could mean that Giles, who spent last season on loan at is my Wi-Fi gone?
No, we can see you. We can hear you properly.
Oh, cool. I don't know why. Is it pissing now? No, it's not. I don't know why I'm having issues with my Wi-Fi at my end. Sorry. So it is potential that Giles will be allowed to leave Wolves, obviously. I think they've still got Aitonore potentially. And of course, they're looking at bringing in Creswell as well. Maybe Johnny Otto goes at right back. He can play either position. So Giles is available, and apparently Leeds United are interested in Giles, along with some other names as well that are on the thumbnail. Hall being one of them, Lewis Hall, who is at Chelsea, potentially on loan, although he did get some minutes for Chelsea. I've asked both the lads to take a look at them, but they've also brought forward some other left backs that Leeds United could get. And listen, none of us predicted Ampadu, and we got Ampadu. So let's hope either Giles or Hall. Hall would be amazing, by the way. He's a top player. I think I prefer him over Giles personally. But obviously it's not permanent or anything. Chelsea had want him back. But there's him and, of course, any other left back that gets mentioned. But who's picking up Giles, folks? Who's picking up Giles?
I picked up Giles. So to talk about him, we need to consider, first of all, that looking at his history, his career. So I put him here. He's signed. He's come through the Wolves Academy, and so he's an academy product. But he's there for a very long time, and he's just renewed the contract in 2020 for 5 years. So if you look at his recent career, since he signed for Wolves, he made just 1 appearance in one of the 2 cups for Wolves in all this time, and he still has 2 years contract left. 2 years left on his contract. So looking at his career, he moved to Coventry City on loan, Shrewsbury on loan, Coventry City on loan, Rotherham on loan, Cardiff on loan, Blackburn on loan, and last season, Borough on loan. So it's clear they don't have a path for him at Wolves. So I'll go as far as saying, let's go and try to sign him permanently, because he's a very good player. Okay, here we have the stats. You see also the fact that plays in his favor, in my point of view. Borough reached the playoffs last season. Yeah. The season before, when he was at Blackburn, they bottled the playoffs. They were even in the automatic position for promotion positions for a very long time in the previous season when Brereton was flying, and basically when they had Harvey Elliott, I think, too, in the previous season. So they had a very good team, I think, in those 2 seasons. But the season he was there, I think he played for clubs challenging for the top. And if you look at him, he's a player that is versatile. He has a good run-up. He's quick to dispose of the ball, overlaps, but also an all-around player. He's not just one that passes the ball and overlaps. He can also run with the ball, go into the center. He's versatile, really versatile. He can even play in midfield. He can even play more advanced on the pitch. So especially, he always uses in the 99% of the times his left foot. But last season he was very good, of course, following the play. When Boro overload one flank, one wing, he came up on the other wing and they tried to reach the ball on the other one, get the ball on the other flank when he was coming, and usually crossed or get 1-on-1 or try to outpace the defender to create the advantage in terms of number and pass it into the middle or back to the upcoming midfielder or attacker. He's very good with the crosses. He's fast. He's a player that I think, looking at the system, he can be compared to the Norwich squad when Farke was there to Aarons, to be fair, to Aarons, in terms of styles of play. Looking at the stat too, you see passes attempted 98%. Progressive carries too. Look at progressive carries is what I was saying. He also is capable to carry the ball, so he can create situations where you have the wing here, the attacker here, and the left back coming through. You can dialogue with those players and create an advantage in terms of overloading on one side and creating cuts behind. So especially if, like here, Antoine saying on the chat, of course, Giles is also an Irish surname, but it's not related to Johnny Giles. It's English. 5 million would be a great deal in my point of view, especially because, of course, he's 23. He's not that old. And Wolves don't have a plan for him. It's clear because they're bringing in Aaron Cresswell and they have Ryan Knight-Nuri too.
Yeah.
So I think he is a very good fit in terms of pace, capability of disposing of the ball, quickness, and versatility too. I think the clear, filter for the signings under this system is versatility. It's versatility because position, of course, are crucial. He's a left back, but in modern football, especially in a style like Farke, offensive style of football, we've seen also Gasperini or even Marcelo Bielsa at Leeds. The players move a lot off the ball, so the positions are getting passed through by the time. Sometimes are getting passed through by the times. So he's a very versatile and mobile left back. He moves a lot, even in the center areas of the pitch. Because it's the system that matters, not just the positioning, the starting positioning, let's say, in a system like that. So that's why I focus on him mainly, as a player. He was actually in the extended list when we finished to talk about the defenders, in the defender scouting report. So it's good to talk about him in a more detailed way this time. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought I'd unmuted. My apologies. In terms of his attacking stats, they're right up there, aren't they? Obviously, aerial duels, etc. But we don't expect to be facing, any sort of balls like that. We'll have too much of the ball, I'd imagine, for us to be worried about that. It's all about possession-based stats. Progressive passes received as well. That's really good. And progressive carries. Look, I've had a look. Apparently, Luton are considering a bid of 5 million. But again, people might just Luton. But 5 million is a big chunk to Luton, 5 million is a big chunk. So it's whether or not they weigh that up. So, yeah, listen, Giles, just before we move on to Hall, would you be all over that, Lockie?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, what were his stats last year in the Championship? We got with double figures assists, I believe.
Yeah, so we can
Really
have a
good
look
one.
there, actually, mate.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. So 11 assists, 11 assists for Middlesbrough. If we just have a look there, which is no joke, is it? And he's done his hard yards, hasn't he? If you see, look at that in the Championship, like was mentioned, he's literally been everywhere but League Two. You know what I mean? So, be a great addition if we could get it done at 5 million as well. It's cheap.
100%.
Makes you wonder why he's not been given a chance. Do you know what I mean? Wolves, why they're going.
That's
have
why
quite a lot of
I say
left backs,
sign him permanently. Sign him permanently, and he can stay. If we get promoted, you can develop him. He's 23.
Yeah,
he is still the best years of his career ahead of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. So that is, listen, that's Giles. Someone's just said, and I just want to mention this because it did my head in before. Scott Roberts says, why haul over Giles, Joe? Surely we don't want to develop a youngster for him to go back to parent. We had the same thing.
Like the next one.
We had the same thing with Ben White. And then I had to have this conversation with people over Conor Gallagher. And we all know how well Conor Gallagher did at Crystal Palace and how poor Leeds United did. And I think it'd have been huge for us. And I used to have to say that all the time. Why should we get another? That's football. That is football. It is what it is. I don't care if they're a better player and a better fit. I don't care if they go back to Chelsea or Man United. Genuinely, I'm all about Leeds United where we are now. I'm genuinely not asked. I'd take Amid Diallo. I'd take Hannibal. I'd take that Manon tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. Right. Okay. Let's have a look into Hall then. Do you want to talk to me about him, Lockie?
I will. I'm going to just get him up. I've lost my page. There it is. Yeah. So Lewis Hall plays for Chelsea. It's quite different to Giles in terms of his career. He's been at Chelsea since he was a kid. He's come up through the youth ranks. He's done his time there. He got a bit of game time last season in the Premier League with the issues they had at left back with obviously Chilwell being injured and Cucurella. So, and from what is being said, and from I remember the last 4 or 5 games of the season, you can see his stats there. One thing I got from seeing him was the word complete. I think, and at 18 years old, when you look at him, he looks like a 25-year-old experienced fullback that's been playing there for 10 years in the Premier League. Like, everything about him is calm, collected. His mentality seems to be not fazed by anything. He came in at Chelsea when they were in a bad time, a bad way last season at Chelsea, and looked from the second he came in, he played around January. I think he got a bit of game time around January, then a bit at the end. When he came in January, he instantly looked part of the team. He looked like a solid player. And I think he's at that point now where obviously they're buying everyone. He either looks like, can I fight for a position at Chelsea? Because I do think he could be in that picture. I don't think he'd get it because of how much money they've spent on top players, obviously. Or you go, like a lot of top players, young players do, go to the Championship, get a real good experience at a winning side, and then develop. Because I genuinely believe, and I'm not exaggerating, he's the type of player who could start for England in the next, 7 or 8 years. He's at left back, he's that good. I just think he's totally complete. And you can look at his there. You can look, that's Premier League stats, by the way. for an 18-year-old.
Yes, insane.
You look at his progression on the ball, like I'll describe on the ball, he's calm. Like Andrea said about versatility, he's a left back, let me clarify, but he can literally play a wing, he can play centre back because he's complete at all his attributes. I think people be worried about his experience, but from what I've seen him in the Premier League, he's not fazed by any of that by first team football. And I think a guy coming, you look at, McAtee last year wasn't fazed by the Championship. He's that type of player, he's that good, I think. And I think in terms of cream of the crop, young players you can get, he's 100% up there. Look at his progressive passes, look at his passing, look at his movement, his actions, his tackles, interceptions. He's an all-round fullback for me. So obviously he's still young. I'm not saying he's obviously, but he could be really good. You look at Ben White, I look at a player like that who came into Leeds, easy for him. And I think Lewis Hall, and he's massive as well. He's a unit. He's a big lad. For a fullback, very muscly and compact, so he won't be bothered physically either. I just think he's a complete fullback. or he will be a complete fullback. He's got the attributes to be a complete fullback, 100%.
100%. I do just want to say, and it has been picked up in the comments as well, and having a look, he has high potential, and he'll go on loan to lower Prem. And listen, Chelsea did trigger an extension in his contract because Crystal Palace was sniffing round, etc. But he can go there and maybe not start week in, week out. But Leeds United, it seems, could have had a conversation maybe with the Ampadu deal, etc. There might be a decent relationship there because Parag Maraf and Todd Bowley, these things do impact, stuff. So, I mean, he would be my preferred pick. I just want to pick up on this as well, said, God, Joe Hate's being criticised. He wasn't actually criticising me, mate. He was just saying that he doesn't see why Leeds should develop another teams, and I disagree with that. He wasn't criticising me, and people who watch me regularly, like yourself, Bazzy, will know that not to be the case. What's just been added as well here, which is new by this add-on that we've got, you actually can compare now. So if you have a look there, that's quite cool. So red is Giles, and green is Hall, and look. Giles has more assists, etc. But like you were talking, Lockie, in terms of complete, Hall's got a bit of everything, hasn't he? Do you know?
Yeah, he really has. Yeah. Like, I remember him. Obviously, when you told me the name today, I was like, oh, that's him who played left back. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying I knew him, but I remembered then. I was like, oh, this guy looks quite good. He looks quite a complete little defender there. And yeah, that's the feeling I got. And I watched loads of clips this afternoon. It just backed that up.
Yeah.
Just pure, exactly. All his attributes, really good. Yeah,
amazing. It'd be a top player, and hopefully one that Leeds United are serious about getting. But it would be very, very tough. Yeah. Right, there's the two that have been bandied about, and maybe we know about. Let's dial into these two. Statitos, scouts, if you like. They've got a hit rate at the minute, so let's see if we can hit the next left back. Right, okay. Who's going first? Andrea, you first, bro.
Okay, me first. And another name of the extended list. Last time I said it could have been difficult, but because there were rumored offers for Serie A, but the trails have gone cold right now. There's no talk about him anymore. So he's in Serie B right now with Cremonese. So. Like I said, with Ampadu, if you have the chance, go and take him. Go and take him. Emanuele Valeri.
Do you want to spell that for me, brother?
V-A, like the former Australian midfielder. V-A-L.
Yeah.
E.
Yeah.
R-I.
R-I.
Val.
Yeah, Emanuele Valeri.
Exactly.
Cremonese, right? I've got him.
Valeri, Cremonese. Of course, they've been relegated, but last season they played. They had the manager that was here in Reggio Emilia, Alvini, who was in his first season in Serie A. Because when he was in my hometown, he got us promoted, Reggiana, from Serie C to Serie B. He's a very offensive manager in terms of style of football. So for the first season in Serie A, after he was with Perugia in Serie B. They played a very offensive style of football without a team capable of staying in Serie A. So they paid for that. But Valeri was the standout player for the whole season. He was clearly the best player. And he's an attacking left back who can follow the play. He can create chances. He also has a good shot. He scored actually a very good goal, I think, against Lazio was at the Stadio Olimpico. He's a very powerful one. I've seen him playing live when he was in Serie C in the third year against Reggiana when I was still working in journalism, and we went to an away day, Cesena Reggiana, and he was in Serie C at the time. He was very, very young, and he literally runs all the flank. It never stops. Goes up, goes down. Goes up, goes down. He's very powerful in terms of offensive style of football, and you see the stats, progressive carries. Look at that, what I was saying, 92%. So it's a player who has a lot of, progression. Yeah, progression with the ball, and especially if you have the space on the flank with a through ball, you can put him into the space to attack and create the chance to go into the box or cross into the middle for the attackers, because he's very versatile in terms of Basically, I think when he was young, he used to play in a more advanced position, but then they put him back in a defensive line. But he can also play in a 3-4-1-2 or 4-2-1 position. And I think, especially looking at how we play in Serie A, here my advice is just do like we did with Ampadu, because this one is very good, especially if the Serie A team are sleeping on him, because there's not concrete offers right now. Let's go and take him. Let's go and take it, because this one is really, really good.
What's he valued at, Andre?
Transfermarkt, if you want to check, I have it here, is valued around 4 million right now.
Yeah, really cheap. Really cheap.
Yeah, he's a Lazio fan, so there were talks about an interest from Lazio, but he will never play at Lazio, because Sarri is very strict. He plays Marusic every time. Marusic is a right back, but he always plays on the left, and it's like he's Praetorian. He's a entrusted soldier. So Sarri always plays Marusic, even if they have Pellegrini now. They have Pellegrini on loan. But yeah, Valeri Laz is really good. I've seen Cremonese play a lot, because the manager used to be here in Reggio Emilia. So I wanted to see how he did, in managing a Serie A team. And Valeri was very, very good. I had him on fantasy football too. I have to say that too. But yeah, like Poyampalo and Ampadu from Serie A, and this time Serie B, because they got relegated. You can still hear me? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
No, because the headphones had a little problem. Yeah, I think it'd be a very good fit, especially cheap.
Listen, at 3.5 million, mate, it's an absolute steal. If we look as well and compare him, let's have a look at, say, some. I think Lewis Hall might be a little bit out of our grasp, but
yeah,
very, very similar. Obviously, Giles, he had an amazing season in terms of assists in that last season, but for the price, you can go get someone like Valeri. Why not, mate? How old is Valeri as well? Let's have a look.
24. 24. His trajectory was basically like that, because I told you that I saw him play when he was at Cesena. He was basically he's very peculiar one, because when he was really young, he's Roman. He was born in Rome, so he played in non-league with Urbetevere. Then moved to Vescovio, another non-league club, very, very low-key clubs, in Serie D, the fourth year of Italian football. Then moved to Rieti, fourth year. Then he was acquired by Lecce. Lecce have the director of football, Pantaleo Corvino, who is one of the gurus in Italy in terms of transfer, one of the OGs, in terms of the director of football in Italy. Then Lecce sold him to Cesena. He didn't get an opportunity at Lecce, and Cesena in Serie C, after 2 seasons, Cremonese went knocking, and they acquired him, and he went from basically Serie C, Serie B, and Serie A. So yeah, he's 24 and he's progressing season after season.
Yeah, it's mad, actually. I had a little Google of his name just to see, and actually in September of last year, Nottingham Forest were linked with the January move for him, actually, in fact. So, look, people will be aware of him, so we'll have to wait and see. But for a price like that, it looks like a no-brainer, really, if we're being totally honest, doesn't it? Lockie, who are we on to?
So my first one's probably the most unrealistic, but you never know. Okay. Last name is Smal, Smal.
Okay.
Plays for SC20.
Smile.
How do you say his?
How do you say his?
Gidgis? I don't know. Gijs is his first name. Gidgis. Jizz. Just call him Jizz. Jizz small.
Right, yeah. The reason I say it's unrealistic, but we don't know. We've signed some decent players, we're linked with good players. But the most unrealistic in my list is last season in the Eredivisie, 34 games. Yeah.
Jeez.
He got, I think it was 10 assists, 2 goals in 34 games from fullback last season. He's a very good attacking fullback.
No shit. Look at that.
But I looked at his value and I looked at transfer link. There's not much there. Did FC20 get European football? I'm not sure if they did. I think they might have just missed out.
Yeah.
Someone tell us in the comments.
But 6 million value, 25 years old, a season like that. I believe. No, this isn't the one. Doesn't matter. I thought he was played in Germany. That's someone else. But yeah,
6 million, right? 6 million.
6 million value. 25 years old. Tore up the Eredivisie last season. One of the best fullbacks in there. But again, with the league not being one of the highest leagues in Europe, maybe them not getting Europe might be a little less seen, and a team like, I look at Fleming going to Millwall last season. He had a great season the season before in the Eredivisie, and he went to the Championship. So it's not out of the reach; it does happen. And when I look at him, yeah, he's all about progression. So they've got the Conference League. Oh yeah, fair enough. That might make it difficult, but you never know. You never know. You're one season away from the Premier League, aren't you? That's what I always say in the Championship. But when I see him on the ball, he loves coming inside. And you muted you.
Yeah, I was just saying, is it just a one-off season? But he has been involved, hasn't he?
Solid,
even before he got his move to 20 there. Look, I assume that's one of the lower divisions. He got
second tier.
Yeah, so he got 6 goals and 9 assists. So it's not like a one and done kind of season. He looks decent, right?
Yeah, and on the ball, he's one of the. He's technically reminds me a bit like Trent, the way he kind of. I'm not saying.
Look who number 1 he's similar to, Ryan Manning.
Ryan Manning. That's what I'd say. That type of marauding forward who loves to just run forward as a fullback, but also has the energy and desire to get back, which what Daniel Farke would absolutely love. Ball progression, assists, great passing and goal stats. I believe he also really good at set pieces as well. He takes set pieces to the side. Just one I found, and I just thought it'd be an excellent
perfect, almost perfect, right?
Almost, yeah. Again, not bad defensively as well. Look, he doesn't win aerials, he doesn't clear it, but tackles, decent tackle percentage there. Yeah. Again, that complete, quite versatile, can attack, can defend, can build play up in the middle as well. Yeah, 25 years old.
Yeah, great age. There doesn't seem to be any sort of transfer links either. Just looking at it,
that's what I was worried about. I think it's a few clubs, but.
No, there's nothing there really. So I mean, I think if I was to pick one now, he would be the one. Old small jizz. But yeah, let's move. Sorry for lowering the tone, lads. Sorry, I do apologise. Okay, so next one. Okay. Beat that, Andrea. Beat that.
Okay, next one. In Croatian, idemo u Zagreb. We're going to Zagreb. The name is Robert Ljubicic. This one is difficult.
No, got it wrong. So go on. LU?
LJ.
Oh, what? Ljubicic? Where's the U? LJU. Okay.
LJU.
Is it Dijan? Austrian?
Robert. That one is the brother.
Got it. Oh, okay. Brothers. Okay, there you go. I was close enough. Robert Ljubicic. What? What did I say? Ljubicic. Is that his name?
Yeah, it's him. Ljubicic.
Oh, wait, guys, if I'm looking over here, I'm just finding my next one. Don't worry.
No worries, broski.
Okay, Ljubicic. The next one is Robert Ljubicic, who is actually born in Austria, in Vienna, but as you can assume by the name, his family is Croatian. So this one is particular because before moving to Dinamo Zagreb, actually, he played for Rapid Vienna. And at Rapid Vienna, he used to play as a center mid. Then he moved to Zagreb, actually, last season in Croatia. And he was transformed into a left back by their manager. So basically, of course, he's grown up in Austria, St. Pölten at the beginning, then, of course, moved to Rapid Vienna, where he played also European football with the Conference League and the Europa League. Then he moved last season to Dinamo Zagreb, and he played in the UCL too with them. If you look at some of his videos, you don't have to look, of course, at all the dribbles, etc. You have to look at this positioning. And the positioning is very good because it's versatile. This one used to be a center mid / winger. He used to play.
I was going to say it's got him as an attacking mid, right?
Yeah, he used to be an attacking mid. He used to play on the wing. He used to play as center mid. It's like Stuart Dallas, basically. He used to play everywhere. Then now at Dinamo, they have played. They've played him as a left back, and you have to consider, like with Valeri, this one is good. Looking at his defensive stats too, he's a good defender, but also one player that knows how to play, a attacking football. Because if he has the space, he's not one that usually goes the full flank, the full wing. He doesn't progress till to the full wing, but he's one that tends to center more, his position when he has the ball, when he carries the ball. And like I said with Giles, sometimes the players now have a starting position, but they move, of course, off the ball during the build-up system. And usually, Ljubicic, when Dinamo Zagreb start to build up, he eyes his position through the final third, following the attack. And if he has the space, he used to be a center mid, so he has a very good shot from outside. He can shoot very well. But also, like I said, with Giles and Valeri, the characteristics that stands out for me is that these players all have a pace and can create chances for their teammates by providing an option with the off-the-ball positioning. If they pass the ball, they straight cut in a different position. They're never stationary. And Ljubicic is another one. And especially also, he's 24 too. He is 24 too, and is, of course, contended right now between Croatia and Austria. He still has to choose which national team he's going to represent, because he's going to be an international very soon. So Croatia, they had good left backs and full backs in the past. Right now, Borna Sosa from Stuttgart, another player that was linked in the past with Leeds, is their starting left back. But of course, as left backs, they need to have different options. So I think he'll play for Croatia. And Croatia, we know that they play because they have the good tradition. If you look at the names that were in the Yugoslavian squad, like Zvonimir Boban, Robert Prozinecki, there were some players, Goran Vlahovic, Aljoša Šanović. There were a lot of players, that were produced back in the days in Croatia. Croatia has a great tradition in football. So this one, especially looking at his experience, he'll be an international and very soon, and he's playing in all the three competitions: Conference, Europa, and Champions League. This one also will be a very good fit, I think, in terms of versatility. And his price is the same as Valeri, according to Transfermarkt, 3.5 million. 4 million slash. And Dinamo Zagreb, they have to repay us after they didn't sell us Josko Guardiola. So it's time now to make the ground up,
I imagine we'd have bought him. Oh, just gone to City today, hasn't he, for 100 million?
Yeah.
Has he gone, has he?
Mm-hmm. Here we go, I think, Fabrizio said.
Oh, wow.
Fabrizio said. Yeah.
That's mental. Ljubicic then. So it's quite interesting as well, because when you look at comparative players, he's linked with with Iwobi there. I know you can't quite make it, but Iwobi, at times can, I guess, he looks after the full flank, doesn't he? At times at Everton, I've seen him do
Valverde too. He can play.
Yeah,
Valverde
exactly. Yeah. So,
Bobby Reed as well.
Valverde,
basically this season with Zagreb, he played 17 times, 33 appearances in Supersport HNL, which is the top tier in Croatia. 17 appearances as a left back, 8 as a deeper midfielder, 2 as a centre mid, and 2 as an advanced midfielder. So he's very versatile. Yeah. They won the league like they always do, basically.
We love that. Before we move on to the next one, we've had Daniel says, Joe, which young player could do a 46-game league season? I don't know. What if I could pick any? I'm going to go for Joffy. I don't know. What say you, lads? Does anyone want to answer that?
Darko JB.
Yeah, me too. Darko
or
JB.
Matteo Joseph, my new best friend.
Yeah, one of the two. JB probably.
Yeah.
Already
You got him. Lockie's got him on Hotline Bling, man. He's there. Scally Whiskey says, damn, Joe, no link for Lockie's channel. You're sleeping, bro. I did see your comment, and I have also put it in the description. So my apologies, Scally Whiskey. So, yeah, let me remind you to go on over and check them. Link is in the description, as well as Andrea's Twitter, where he shares great knowledge. I've got him on notifications. He's a good guy to follow. Right.
Thank you, mate.
Okay. Next one. Go.
Next one, I've gone with Maximilian Wittek.
Oh,
okay.
WITTEK.
I used to have him on FIFA when I did the career years ago with the 86 Munich.
yeah, that's how he played. The Fark link, the Daniel Farker. Sorry, Farker.
Boys, these players, man. You just guys, you're getting good, aren't you, man? You're getting good, man.
If you obviously, when you get the thing up, Joe, you scroll down and look at the similar players. There's a few on there that we've already mentioned, including Ryan Manning.
Ryan Manning.
So that kind of gives you a picture again.
Smile as well.
Yeah, Smile's on there as well. So yeah, he's a little older than the others, but 27's not, he's not 35. Yeah, peak of his career. Decent season in the Eredivisie last season, 3 goals, 7 assists, further test. Not the top side in that league, are they? So, the type of player similar to the others, like Andre's been saying as well, you have to be a certain type of player in a play for Daniel Farker. Sorry. So, and again, he suits that. What I like about him is his experience. I think he's got a lot more experience than these other guys. He's played in Germany, so there'll be that Farker link there. And he's just a decent left back that can do a job. Look at his attacking stats there. Assists, goals, creating chances. Tackles is decent as well. You look at progressive carries, progressive passes. It's all not bad. A lot of greens. Again, a player who I wouldn't say he's naturally as quick as the others, but I'm not saying he's slow. More of a. I think like more of a. I think Jack Harrison is a winger. He's not slow, but he can get up and down the pitch, but he's not the quickest. But really good on the ball, really good at set pieces as well. Takes really good set pieces. 2.5 million value. I think this one would be one that is really realistic in terms of value and a player.
2 million, 2 million, bro.
Yeah.
Mental.
A player that I believe would potentially take that move. Daniel Farker might know him, will be aware of him. Give him a project. Yeah, good stats, good season.
Are we surprised that we haven't seen any German links up to this point, and it is just a case of it's been?
I am actually. I am, but maybe we just don't. They haven't just been leaked, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's just a conversation they've had, and it's not been leaked by anyone yet. I think. I still think later on in the window we'll see 2 or 3 potentially. But yeah, I know we've got a few to get through, so I'm just gonna Maximilian Wittek, top player.
I think Maximilian Wittek, top player. There we go. How many have we got left, lads?
Well, I think we can still both go on for the whole time.
How many do you want to do?
How many? Because we've done 1 hour and 7 minutes.
How long do you want to go for?
Okay, no, okay, I'll bring another one.
Fire some through.
Okay, let's talk about Lee Buchanan maybe, because I have my list here and I've checked on Buchanan because he was linked with an English club recently, I think.
That's a good one there, Andre. I like that one.
Let me check the club he was linked to. It was linked to Lee Buchanan.
Okay.
He was linked to recently Swansea and Birmingham City. He's played in the Bundesliga with Werder.
How am I spelling Buchanan?
Buchanan. B-U-C-H.
It's not coming up,
B-U-C-H-A-N-A-N.
No, I'm only getting Khadija Buchanan, Tejan Buchanan, and David Buchanan.
Let's try and let's try and type Lee. Let's try and type Lee. Lee B.
How do you spell Lee? There's 2 ways.
Lee, the general.
Oh, I've got him. Never mind. I've got him. Ignore me. I don't know why it wouldn't show up on the search. Apologies. Ignore me, folks. Let's go.
Okay. If you remember him at Derby County when he was a youngster, he was really rated. Then when Derby got relegated, he moved to Germany at a club that has ties with the Championship because they brought into Oliver Burke last season at the beginning. Then he was loaned back to the Championship. But he was considered one of the top prospects. There were a few people saying that he will have played for England one day. Then I think if you look at the players from the EFL moving to Germany is becoming a tendency. You see Jackson Irvine with St. Pauli, Dapo Folayan, I think is with Hamburg or St. Pauli, one of the 2 Hamburg-based clubs. Lee Buchanan is moved to Werder Bremen. He's off for Oxford. He's playing for Augsburg for a number of years right now. I think he's a both ends player. He can play on both halves. He has a good pace and can follow the talk, but he's also a very good defender because when he was at Dub, he used to play also as a left centre back. And if I remember correctly, let's check his age. Because he's exactly what I was saying. Yeah, he's 5'9". So he's not that tall, but he's physical. He was very good in terms of tackles too. And if you look at his stat with Werder Bremen, they were nearly promoted last season. Interceptions, tackles, clearances, aerials won. You see that he's a physical player, despite the fact that he's not as tall as some of his opponents. Especially the attackers, even when he plays in defense. But looking also at the stats in terms of the green ones, you see also that it's a player that can contribute on the attack. He's not one that does a lot of progressive carries. So he's a more pragmatic player, not one like the ones that we mentioned before, like Valerio or Giles. But you see that, especially in the Bundesliga, you don't see often players who carry the ball a lot. So I suppose that stats are like that because the fullbacks, especially, even if you look at Gladbach when Farke was there, like Laimar, Ben Sebaini, these are not players that do a lot of carry of the ball. They usually pass the ball because the ball circulation is more quicker than other leagues in Europe. So if you remember him at Derby County in the Championship, he was good. And in fact, he got a move from a relegated Championship side to a top-tier Bundesliga club, a club with a lot of tradition, which is falling off a bit recently, like Schalke, Werder Bremen. Now they've established and they even brought in Naby Keita, who unfortunately is already injured. But yeah, this is another name that should be in consideration, especially because I never thought that clubs like Swansea or Birmingham City, so clubs that at the start of the season ideally won't challenge for promotion as their top goal, will be linked to him. I think top clubs or even lower clubs in the Premier League could have been linked to him. So if there's no links right now, there's another player that should be considered because he's proven that he can play in the Championship, especially in a Derby County side that was impoverished, after Lampard left and Mount left and Tomori left, because we all know the situation, the financial situation. They changed a lot of players during the two seasons before they got relegated, but he was a consistent player in a club that was rigged with difficulties off the pitch. So yeah, I think it should be another name in contention.
For sure, Lee Buchanan. What we'll do, folks, we've been going for an hour and 15 minutes, and I don't want to drag it out too long for people. But obviously, there's a lot of names there. What I will do is I want to go round and ask you from them names, who are you taking if money wasn't an option, and I want to know who's Leeds United's next signing going to be and when. I'll go to Andrea first.
Okay, my top signing will be Valeri. But yeah, I have a soft spot for Ljubicic too, our friend from Croatia. To be fair, your friend from Croatia, Ljubicic. The first signing, I think, will be Glenn Kamara.
Okay.
Not tomorrow, probably. No, tomorrow is already Thursday. I think we'll have another signing tomorrow, to be fair. I think we'll have another signing tomorrow. Yeah, I have this feeling. Ampadu was announced yesterday. Today was a quiet day. I think now that the takeover has been announced, ratified, the news will flow. And the season is approaching, and we have a friendly approach too with our Monegasque friends of AS Monaco. So I think if there's playing lineup, they announce at least 1 or 2 this week. I think if like it's being reported there's agreements looking towards their fulfillment. Their total agreements with players. I think it can be Kamara on. Tomorrow, so Thursday, probably. I'm gonna be that bold, Let's see if I'm right of him. If I make the look of a bold one,
I think for me, I'm taking. I just really like Hall. I really, really, really like Hall. So I would take him. Ideally, even over Smallges and Wittek. I liked him. In terms of signing, I'm gonna say Phillips Friday. Go you, Lockie.
I think my signing would have been Small, just because he's had an outstanding season. He had really good stats. Yeah, and the young lad would be great as well. But I think that'd be realistic. I was just quickly going to say Jamal Lewis. That was my other one, because I know some people saying in the chat he's
okay.
Played on the FARC and all that. Next signing, but Small. Just to clarify, he'd be my number one. Next signing, I don't think it's midfielder. I think I can't say his name. There's some. Is it Mishu? Mishu? How do you say it properly?
Yeah,
Mishu. Right.
Yeah.
Mishu. I think that might take longer. That'll be based on PSG. Got to evaluate him first, haven't they? So that'll take a few more days if that is to happen. I'm going to go with a centre back and Nat Phillips.
I think you two will win this one. I think it's just a prediction.
But
you'll be right. You'll be right.
We shall see. Before we end, folks, please make sure you go over and check Andrea out on Twitter. And Lockie, what's been going down over on your channel, bro?
I did a Taylor Joseph video about how fit in the system. I'm going to do a few more from a few other young players, probably after the Monaco game. See what I like to watch from that. Some player profiles when players get linked.
Look forward to it. Listen, folks, thanks as always for supporting the channel. Make sure you support each and every content creator that comes on this channel. It's all love. It's nice to see everyone doing so well, and it's great to create so many good friendships, both in the chat and with people that can come on the channel as well. Please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course hit that notification bell, and we will see you all again very, very soon. When? I don't know, probably tomorrow at some point, because hopefully we'll get some.
Let me talk to you.
There's something happening. Has that just come through?
Yeah, a wrestling announcement. A wrestling promo.
Yeah, let me talk to you. Right, we'll end it there, folks. Peace out now.